All right, peace. What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, and soon will be the People's Champ. Shh, we keeping that on the low though. But yo, Mikey Fever in the building. What's going on, Mikey Fever? Good
I'm
to
good.
see you.
Yo, Crip Jesus, I got something for you, man. You
Well,
probably
really,
remember this
it's King
contract.
L, but we gonna
King
go
L.
with Crip Jesus.
Crip Jesus, right? She sells seashells by the seashore. It's time to see some more. No, remember that?
Yeah. CJ Mack.
Hell yeah, you know about that.
Yo, so I want to build on. I mean, the last time we spoke, man, the way you were kind of like building upon the Crip. I call it Crip culture. I thought if I put it out there like that, you would be like, I don't know if it's a culture, because of the way you were talking, saying on the last podcast, the way you were. I don't want to say you were kind of like you were
against Crip.
You were kind of trying to not advocate for Cripping.
Well, my thing is, my name is Crip Jesus, and I think a lot of people get so wrapped up in this white Jesus version, they forget the actual story. Remember in the story, he was telling his people, like, bro, y'all messing up. It's finna be over. Like, if y'all don't get right, it's finna be a wrap for y'all. Like, straight up. Like, and they wanted to kill him because of it. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing, like my name represents some type of glamorization of Crip is crazy. And I'm so glad we here to clear that up. You know what I mean? I represent, especially coming from the God perspective, you know what I'm saying, of the nation, I'm bringing the truth. I'm being a grave digger. You feel what I'm saying? This is the Crips. A Crip is where a tomb is placed. You feel what I'm saying? Like I say in page 8 of the Blue Bible. Etymologically, forget what you say it means. Like somebody told me it stands for this. No. Etymologically, the sound of it, crypt. You know what I mean? That's
frequency.
Used for,
I get what you're saying.
you get what I'm saying? It tells from the crypt. That's used for the dead, bro. So,
you
know what I'm saying?
Hold on.
I
see what he dropping. I see what he dropping.
It ain't even 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes, bro.
He's dropping science, man. Yo, Joe, we coming to the West, man. Ryan and I gonna take a flight out there. We'll come chill with you.
Let's get it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Man. For sure. We have to. So now, Lord knows. Okay, I don't know what that comment's about, but it's all good. We forget about that. Anyway, okay, straight from PA. That's what's up. PA in
the building. I live out there.
What up, PA?
Shout out to Allentown. Shout out to Reading. Shout out to Philly.
Word. So now let's go into it. So now Crip culture, right? When I put that out there and I say that, what comes to mind for you?
For me, like just the science I deal with is the fact that I know with fellow builders, it may be like, let's be antagonistic and say Crip is not a culture and it's a death style and all that. But me, I look at it scientifically. And if we look at it mathematically, culture composes of the elements cult and then the chur on there as I forgot what that's called, but you add it onto the word like the suffix or whatever. So if the root word of it is cult, you feel what I'm saying? And if you look at even the history of how it works, the Big Homie and Raymond Washington, and it's like a cult following, right? So the Crip culture, there is a Crip culture. Now, the problem is that the way of life in today's mathematics is culture. So that's, it's word bound. So the way of life being lived by the Crips, the brain dead, is not the culture that Crip was founded on. And I'll prove it to you. The most popular thing for conscious community or even the guys to say about Crip, and they like to break it down and say community revolution and progress. And I'm here to let everybody know that's not what it stands for.
Okay. Hold on.
So that goes to show the brain deadness here, right?
Okay, now can you explain that? Because people have been saying that for years.
For years.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest argument. So page 8, Blue Bible, I break down. Was that page 7? I break down how I believed it meant that too. And I learned that from my father. All right. So you couldn't tell me that was true, right? My dad told me, y'all don't even know what the hell that shit mean. It means community revolution progress. Old man, born in 61. But my father was born in 61. That means when they made that, he was 8 years old. So he don't know everything.
Right.
All right. He's even a generation behind them.
Right.
That's how deep this goes, right? Raymond Washington was already 16, 17, 18 when he was 8. You dig what I'm saying? So even he's going secondhand. Not saying he's wrong, but I'm gonna just show you what I mean. He got that next generation. That was the next generation, but this is what happened. Crip originally did not even mean an acronym. There was no breakdown to it. According to, now I wasn't there, but according to Danifu Kareem Bey, notice the name of the land. That don't sound like a Crip name, right? So this is a Moorish science sheik who was one of the founders of Crip. Who actually wrote the Constitution.
Hold on.
That's too much right there. That's too deep right there, man.
Hold on. Whoa. All right. You just said a Moorish science sheik started the Crips.
He wasn't a sheik then. So he was a kid, just like Raymond Washington. He was in his teens, late teens. But LA was one of the biggest hot spots for the Panthers at that time. LA is the reason they created SWAT, special weapons in you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because in tactic response, because they had a shootout with the LAPD for over 4 hours due to Bunchy Carter. That's why you say have a lot of Crip historians start with Bunchy Carter. It was his influence as the head of the Black Panther chapter in LA that set the tone for the black leather jacket, having the gun, saying F the police. That culture in LA comes from him. It comes from Black Panthers, but it comes from specifically his version of the Black Panthers. You see what I'm saying? And he dealt with the gangs of LA. He was from Slauson Boys. So he has a connection with that first wave of 6-0s. A lot of them were under him directly. You see what I'm saying? He was from Slauson Boys, but he also dealt with the NOI as well. So he knew lessons. So he was God.
Oh, Tamika in the building, yo. I got a connection to Tamika because she is from my hood. What's up, Tamika? I like seeing her on the check-in. Harlem in the building. So she said, what is his name again? Can you repeat that?
Oh, Danifu Kareem Bey. Tap in with me for a copy of the Blue Bible. You have his name and many more.
The Blue Bible.
But Danifu Kareem Bey, but no, he got his own books and stuff too as well. Like he deep. I think he got a joint called it's for sure a YouTube video. I don't know if it's a book as well. I want to say Baby Panther. So here's how it goes. He's the connection between Crip and Panthers, really. Bunchy Carter, because put it like this: when Bunchy Carter was alive, there was no such thing as Crip. So that's kind of unfair to do that to him because we don't know if he would have been alive and said, "Nah, get this crap out." You get what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't like doing that to people, playing with their legacy like that. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted, was he Crip and Pook? I don't want to give a fuck name. I forgot his Crip name, but Brother Bey. This is in 1972. Okay. According to him, this is not me. I wasn't there. According to him, they even got interviews I could send you. According to him, he said that what they have formulated as teenagers and maybe some other brothers with 19, 18, whatever, but y'all young men, right? By 72, which is the third year in, they're already having major internal conflict. Now, mind you, and this is chapter 2 of the Blue Bible. It talks about how the first Crips called each other blood.
I heard about that. Yeah,
so there is no Crip in blood. This is all division of the devil. It's the same thing as how we got like 5% NGE, whoop-de-whoop, da-da-da, guys, the Muslims, da-da-da, and you start looking back and seeing where the divisions come in, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is, and I'm not doing that I'm not playing with the nation. I'm bringing a parallel of each coast's, because that's what I represent. That's the Crip Jesus, you know what I mean? It's the whole, so I'm giving the duality here, how this was taking place.
Indeed.
Like this, in Equality Born, in 69, when Father Allah was returned, that's when Bunchy Carter was returned and Crip started. That's also the year when Muammar Gaddafi did the rebellion and took over Libya, a bloodless coup. And all three of them things, if you ask me, had a direct effect on me and what I represent, even in the Blue Bible, because I talk about how all of that became to a cross section when you had the Black Peace Stones formulating, getting money, and formulating with Gaddafi,
Libya, yeah,
and bringing that to LA. No one wants to talk about how that was in LA before.
Oh man, hold on. He's getting deep now.
He's deep, like
he's breaking it down mathematically. I love it. Yeah. So now, I want to take it back to the origins of Crip. Yeah. Yeah.
So Danifu Kareem Bey said when he born the Constitution in 1972, the acronym he came with was Community Revolutionary Interparty Services. That explains the structure and why it's so democratic and loose. It was interparty services.
One more time, repeat that. And this is in the Blue Bible.
It's in the Blue Bible, yeah. So I'm telling people, like, and it ain't just no Crip book. This is information included in there. But I talk about how in chapter 1, I talk about my own brain deadness, how prison, all those things. Fortunately for me, this is all due to the blessings of my arm, leg, arm, head. You know what I mean? I didn't come out with $150. I came out with more knowledge. I came out with information that even the people around me didn't necessarily get because maybe someone saw something in me and pulled me to the side. He a Damu. You know what I mean? Someone sees something in me, pull me aside. He God body. He give me, and that lead to me meeting this person. All that, because on the West Coast, a lot of these organizations don't have as much roots. So you get more of a mixture. So that was a blessing to me. I was able to get information from everybody. They may see I'm down with this crew and come give me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something they probably wouldn't do on the East Coast. Some Black Stones see me quoting 120 in California. They like that. Oh, wow, you a real fighter. Oh, let me tell you our stuff. That's just how it is out here. You know what I mean? Because it's not any of us. Feel me? It's a lot of gangs. So from that came the 70s. And you see this on both coasts and all around the country. The 70s for our people was a very confusing time.
Yeah.
The time of Black exploitation.
Yes.
It was a time of extreme pride. Like we don't know today. We can't imagine our women all walking around with afros. That would be like, we might cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a time even hard for us to understand. It's the God ciphers though, and during that time, what I think a lot of people like to talk about in the abstract, but they don't like to bring it home and realize these are our uncles. This is real shit. In the 70s is the time of the infiltration. If I'm not mistaken, they had a program called the Ghetto Informant, the GIP. This was released by Trump. When Trump did the CIA paperwork release thing, this came out. It started because CIA released information every 50 years. So in 1972, 50 years directly behind 2022, when he first did that joint, in 1972, they started the GIP, the Ghetto Informant Program. This goes along with COINTELPRO. Yeah. Now, they use fancy words. COINTEL, counterintelligence. Yeah. What's counterintelligence? Well, I'm not trying to fight fake intelligence. I'm trying to fight real intelligence, right? So counterintelligence is artificial intelligence. It's AI. You just think AI means robot or digital shit. No, that's real life AI in real time. So what they did was we had Community Revolutionary Interparty Services. And these dudes had this vision to recreate this, what they can of like the Black Panthers. This is gonna be the new thing, though, right? And the brothers they're trying to turn out to do this, we're all hip youngsters that call each other blood. See how the devil works? Blood and Crip. What's the difference between blood and Crip? They dress the same, they look the same, they talk the same. They fight over the same blocks. They have sex with the same women. They go to the same jails. They make the same dumbass music. They wear the same chucks, just different color. It's the science of colorism. Y'all
That's cool. It. Vibration. Yep.
Yes, sir. Cool. Yes, sir.
Now so they may say it's different. Now they make fun of us and say we don't fight for colors over here. Oh, y'all don't? What the fuck was the Puerto Rican thing? The guys had all the C's. That was the first division. They started breaking it. You see what I'm saying? Like they played this game everywhere, man. They played this game everywhere. And you see in other states where dudes came in as out-of-town drug dealers that was agents and started gangs. It happened in LA too.
Talk about it.
Wait, okay, hold on. You just made it. You made it.
Ron, he's taking. He just broke. He just gave everybody a whole history lesson. If he knew what they were talking about from COINTELPRO for infiltration of what was going on with Libya, from Jeff Fort when they were trying to hire him to do carry out those terrorist attacks.
But what same thing took place in LA. Right now, though, you just said drug dealers were agents. You mean like agents as in like they were agents because they were drug dealing, or they were agents
as working for the government? So this is what happens.
They gave carte blanche to sell drugs in the community.
In 1969, in Los Angeles, because I'm gonna rock with you. I can't speak for everybody, but we're gonna give names now. We're gonna stop being busted today. This is gonna be a legendary. So in 1969, Bunchy Carter got LA on lock. Right? We gonna act like people didn't get high, but you couldn't come in front of a school and advertise drugs to kids and throw after school parties and have sex with all the little homegirls and all. You couldn't do that. Don't forget, behind this high and mighty gang name is a bunch of little kids getting turned out by grown-ups. That shit don't come into the 70s. So these gangs didn't start like that because the whole concept of the gang, the Blood and Crip, didn't even exist, right? These were same people. Hey, what up, Blood? What up, Blood? These were Crips talking to each other because the whole world said, "Hey, what up, young Blood?" I hear that from people coming from London. This is black lingo. They took our lingo and made it devilishment. Same thing what they do with the music. Same thing they was doing with the music in the 70s with the black exploitation and all that. So they was fucking with the vibrations then, right? And what they came with was, why do Pyru say P-Funk? Why is the vision of an OG homie somebody from the 70s with the afro and the low? This is where the vibration comes from, right? So when they started playing with the vibration in the 70s, I ain't get off the subject. From what I gathered in my research is, let's start with LA. Then I'm gonna go to Philly and New York. So in LA in 69, when they got rid of Bunchy Carter, who's the they? The Illuminati, the white man. No, let's be specific. These were not white men. They were getting orders from the white man, but it was actually a group of brothers named US, United Slaves. You know that's some government shit. What type of niggas come together and say we United Slaves? Led by Robert Karinga, the inventor of, you guessed it.
I know you're talking.
Yeah.
Hanukkah. Yeah. He's still alive. You know, it is what it is.
Not Hanukkah, you meant Quant.
We met him. We met him on we didn't really meet him, but he was on remember the Zoom call and all of that. Remember?
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna be fair. I say what I say in the book because the book is coming from the perspective of what it was told to me in prison. But you know, I don't know. But I even said this in the book too. I ain't putting nothing on him. I said it's said in the prison, like California prison is like, nah, they don't fuck with Robert Kareem. Like people that's pushing the whole BGF, Black Panther type paradigm and all that, like nah. So they see him as a government agent that was used to run a group of brothers that was basically used to go against them and create like a gang type antagonistic environment with the Panthers that was there. Like we the other Black Power group that want to do it a different way, and we have fights with y'all. In the midst of these conflicts, Bunchy Carter ends up dead. See what I'm saying? So we don't know if they slipped one of theirs in to do it and make it look. You know what I mean? I'll even give Robert Karenga this much. I've heard this said. Hey, he ain't know what was going on. You know, he was just rocking with okay, whatever. So the point is, in the midst of those conflicts, the same way the Blood and Crip thing plays out, Bunchy Carter ends up dead. They might say it was a U.S. member that did it. All we know is it happened at a college, and they claimed it was them getting into it. After he dies, is a shootout on 41st and Central between the LAPD and the Panthers, and it lasted for 4 hours. This is why they ended up creating SWAT. They went around and arrested all the members supposedly. I don't know how many members it was, but I know that one night allegedly it was like over 70 arrests. So all the hitters. This is what led to the big void in the coming up of the other organizations, and eventually Crip being the most popular. So from that comes, Danifu Kareem Bey, who wasn't called that at that time, comes up with the Community Revolutionary Interparty Services Constitution. Now that's where my research goes. This is why I said the 70s is where it gets mixed up, because the 70s comes the drug dealer era. And when I read information from Panthers in the East, I can't say I read this in Panther books from the West, because the Panther books in the West during that era kind of deal more with like George Jackson and what's called like the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family, which would be like the big homies of that era, right? So here's what's funny. The government got rid of them strategically one by one in the prisons, put cases on them, get them in there, bam. But while they would be in the SHU, which is segregated housing units, away from everybody because they had so much knowledge, they went on the main line. Whatever Crips or Bloods would be brought to the SHU, they would teach them. That's what led to the creation of Bloodline, United Blood Nation, CCO, and Blue Note Crip. And all these are like prison gangs or secret societies, other gangs, levels or whatever. They speak Swahili, they have different alliances, whatever.
That
So,
the United Blood Nation sounds familiar.
yeah, because like I said in the book,
East Coast, yeah.
they ended up they West Coast, but they ended up they call it getting cut when they initiate you. They started spreading to out the prisons. So they started like letting rappers join and all type of shit. So I talk about that in the book, how it was a dude I knew that was UB, and they used to be bringing pictures of celebrities to my cell. We used to be laughing like, what the hell? They took it to that level. But the point is, to go back to what I was saying, in the 70s, it's like the Crips are going into the prisons, they're getting beat up, they're having to fight real hard to even exist. It's a lot of crazy, it's a lot of mixture going on. And in the midst of all of that, what I read in reading and studying Philly and New York is this is when the BLA came on the rise, which was like the second wave of what was left of the Black Panthers. And the Black
Hold on.
BLA.
Black
Liberation Army.
Black Liberation Army, yeah. And from what I gathered from them, their main conflict was in these ghettos that we're talking about, where these gangs were, but it wasn't the gangbangers they was conflicted with. They said they was conflicting with the people who were like in big homie status and were selling drugs, which a lot of them, it wasn't as mixed yet. It wasn't like gang drug dealers yet. So it was like the drug dealers still had their own separate world. You know what I mean? So it may be like a big homie or a dude's like big homie of the neighborhood, but he's not as per se a Crip or Blood, whatever. You know what I mean? How, it wasn't as like how it is now, so set in stone. So you have people like Tootie Reese. Rest in peace, Tootie Reese. Tootie Reese frequented the Rolling 30 areas, which we call Harlem out here. So I guess that'd be like Harlem, California, I guess. But it's like Tootie Reese wasn't necessarily a Crip, but the Crips in that area looked up to him, would protect him, whatever. So this is like things are changing now. The gangs are growing. The drug dealers are kind of becoming the center of attention because the revolutionary dudes are getting pulled away. But from what I gathered from the BLA, they're saying the government was sponsoring these people. Now I want to ask you something. Before a bunch of rap songs came out saying "my migo, my migo, my migo," wouldn't it seem kind of suspicious? A predominantly black neighborhood. Now how we got them now, where they're not predominantly black, but we just act like they are. A really predominantly black neighborhood that's like 85% black. Some Mexicans over here giving you 20 pounds of dope at a time.
Yeah, that I think that's kind of weird. Yeah.
Talk about it.
Now we, you know what I'm saying, at that time, and then look, if anybody watching, like, then I could say the name. His name was, I remember his name because my real name is Brandon. His name is Blandon.
I heard of him.
Blandon. That was Freeway Rick's blood.
Oh yeah.
It was CIA.
Yeah, well, Oliver North and them, right? When they was fighting the Contras and all that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, but it ain't like Oliver North walked up to.
No, he didn't. But
it was
proxy.
But I'm saying it was the Migo. So what I'm saying is not exaggerating. The Migo dudes be government sometimes.
He's on point, yo. Jesus, you on fire, bro.
You feel me?
Yeah.
We go lower level with it. Oh, my Migo, you talking about the Migo's grandson? Nah, we ain't talking about your homie up the street. We talking about this is the beginning of the thing. It ain't even popular to do drugs in the hood this time. Here comes some Spanish dude. I got all the dope in the world. Sure, I know they're gonna buy all this shit. No, nobody knew they was gonna buy all this shit. The demand wasn't even there like that. They set this in place, bruh. Facts. And I got that from reading BLA publications and books. That was like their main issue because they're like in the 70s and the 80s.
Right. And they interfere with what was going on in Queens with the 7 Crowns and all of that.
See, that makes sense. I didn't get that though. Like I just got it in general terms. I didn't get like if it was actually 7, but it makes sense because we have to be realistic with ourselves. If I'm the hustler and these dudes, they're not police, they're saying F the pigs, but you kind of get what I'm saying? We kind of miss that transition in our brain. We just go straight from revolutionary hood. Like, no, there was a time period where what will become the hood leader dude was despised by the political leader dude of the neighborhood. So let's go take us back to the 70s with the Crip culture. The first Crips to enter prison, they was whipping their ass. The BGF, they was making them turn BGF. You feel me? The CCO came about as a result of them not being to exterminate all the Crips, and it just kept coming more and more and more and more and more. You feel what I'm saying? Just so it's like they start learning from them and you know, kind of evolving into that. But
so they started learning from the Black Guerrilla Family, is what you
yeah,
said.
that's how they learn Swahili. That's why a lot of the TCOs and BNCs are Muslim. That's why they say let's hold Salama. That come from the BGF. You know what I'm saying?
So do you know anything else about the BGF?
Do you say do I know about?
Yeah, like just basic history.
Well, yeah, I talk about that in the Blue Bible too. Yeah, they were started by the brother George Jackson, who was you know with the Panthers. So it became basically like the prison division. You know what I mean? He was the author of Blood in My Eye. I know when I was in prison, you couldn't even have to be a Blood in My Eye, or they locked you in the shoe. That's how deep it was. And yeah, when I was around, they just represented, you know, they was non-tolerant with all the goofy shit. Like looking at how it is now, I hate that the BGF had to get that they had to disappear because they were extremely non-tolerant of everything we complain about. And they're like, oh, that sexy red, my booty brown, they'll come beat your ass for even saying some weird shit like that. You can't say the N-word. They don't play none of that. So, you know, not to throw the nation back in, but I just really, because, you know, I was just having this conversation with the guy this morning. I was like, man, when you look at the timing, it's a parallel there because when you look at like the vision that I had growing up, like in the 90s, when it's like, oh yeah, the East Coast, they, you know, they big selling dope and all that, but they guys at the same time, or some, you know, this false image that was the same thing. Like, like y'all probably look at the West Coast, like, oh yeah, they all gang bang and wear chucks and sell crack. You get what I'm saying? And it's like even that stereotype and that image, if you ask me, they put the drugs, they started introducing the drug dealers and all of that, and the black exploitation, and all that 70s, right? 80s when they came with like crack and, you know, just full-fledged, and the police started actually getting in dudes' cars and going to other hoods and shooting at them. And so the Bloods did it. I'm pretty sure on y'all side it was, you know, these guys did it, the guys did it. Now the guys are deep, like all this crazy stuff, right? They start going that far with it, right? Like the movie In Too Deep, right? Like this ain't nothing. So, when they start going that far with it, they were introducing drugs and the gang culture that we see today. Then, so everything I just said before this is to show y'all that's where it came from. Now, this is the 80s, is what you see today, where it's just death, kill, murder. And you see that in every hood around America. You see, they all say, yeah, in the 80s, it changed around here. Right? This is when Crip got with it. But then you have the 90s. And this is the part a lot of black people don't want to admit because it makes them feel weak. Like, I ain't that influential. Yes. In the 90s, the main drug in the ghetto was hip hop. They infiltrated and made it to
we already know. Yo, keep going. Yeah.
They infiltrated and made it to where the culture of whatever your gang or crew or whatever became molded by this. See, this is what it was. I was talking to the OG this morning, and the guy was telling me how, you know, because I was telling, because, you know, it'd be 3 generations when we build it. So we got the guy's son, he's younger than me, but I'm in between both of them. And we were talking about how the way hip hop is, you know, how it's like we're saying words that's you know, non-traditional or non-appropriate, right? So how it become normalized, we're talking about. And he was talking about how in the beginning you had to go to swap meet or go to a bootlegger from underground to even get hip-hop music, right? Because it was that, you know, and then not just like the rawness of it, just also it wasn't on the labels and all that, right? So what happens is when they bring out the hip hop, the hippie and all of that in the 80s, right? You gotta look at what was going on at the time. So they was taking what was in the streets, bringing in, okay, man, we're gonna get our piece of it, we're gonna water it down, commercialize it, mix it, Run DMC with Aerosmith, all that corny shit. But then it came out later on, Africa Bambaataa and all that. I ain't gotta sit here and bite my lips. So they infiltrated even the guys. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, nation, yeah, come be a god. Ooh, you getting your cheeks busted open.
Wait, hold.
So compromising behavior.
So just to clarify, basically you're saying Africa Bambaataa. You're saying Africa Bambaataa basically influenced people to come into his operation, if you want to call it that.
I'm saying basically that the reason the vision of Crip culture is so weirded out now, at the same time I break down the Blue Bible, because I break down my adventure, I was learning more about the guys, and I was learning about, you know what I mean? So what I realized was that these infiltrations went on around the nation at the same time.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So at the same time that the guys were spreading and it was undeniable, they had all power boroughs on lock. The devil don't create nothing. So the devil come and try to use that. He get one of us to say, hey, tell the younger ones if they want to be God and be Zulu and all that, you know, they gotta come through there, that chamber. So on the West Coast, it's, hey, let them know if they want to be, you know, like the BGF and the big on swole and manly. And this was the West Coast thing, right? Where you gonna swole, you ain't scared of the police, you got your gun and you got your jury and all, man, kings, gods, and the person. They gotta come through here, they gotta get socked on, let the big homie do what he want. We got drugs, all So I'm saying in the 90s, it was the same thing. You would go try to become a rapper, or man, you know, I ain't gonna say no names, but there was even parts in the East Coast where you would go and become part of some clique. And they'll give you lessons, mathematics, all that. And then you know, you like doing drugs and all that, but it's like some rap clique or something. You know what I'm saying?
I never heard of anything like that.
What you mean?
We're talking about off camera, probably. I know where he's pointing at.
I don't know what you're talking about though. I never heard that.
Like on the East Coast, it may be like a rap clique. There was a time in the 90s, I'm saying when hip hop became the drug, right? You could join a rap clique and they'll teach you the lingo. You may even start talking mathematics and all that, but they getting you high. They got you on dope. Next thing you know, you in jail. You feel what I'm saying? So then on the West Coast, it's the same thing. By the time it came in the 90s, it's like to just even be down or with the rappers or with the crews, now you gang banging. Like Tupac. Nothing I'm saying is far-fetched. Like next thing you know, you Tupac. Now you just came out to do some music. Now you gang banging. Now you all that. Right?
That's a fact.
This became the new
drug. The new crack.
Drug world. You know what I'm saying? The
influence, selling an influence, a package.
The whole UNI of the shit, right? And
now let me ask you this. Do you think that COINTELPRO made that happen?
I know COINTELPRO made it happen because it's called COINTELPRO. So the program we had before was counterintelligence. It was AI. They ain't like us getting money. They ain't like us owning all our own stores. They ain't like us doing all that. So they gave us AI in the music. So in the 90s, the music was literally beats that make you attack. Fuck that nigga. Murder, death, kill, bone thug, murder, death, kill your mama. All that, bro.
So Crip Jesus.
It was in the 90s. Right?
So I see what you're saying, God. Before you go any further, he's saying basically this infiltrated, like, people like James Brown who own their masters and Ray Charles and them. They exploit their weakness. They're like, oh, I see what you're doing with your music. You uplift people with the message. So I'm gonna use what you love to destroy you. You know what I'm saying?
Every time.
Got you, God.
When we love the books, they made the Bible.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. When we loved our little organizations, Black, they made the gangs.
Got you.
When we love getting high on different herbs, see, it sounds bad now, but there was a time all that stuff was pure. Grandma and them used to chew a little of this, smoke a little of that, sniff a little of that, go right in and get everything done. They infiltrated that. When we used to smoke the weed, we used to buy a little $5 nickel sack and be good all day.
Yeah.
They infiltrated that. Now we need $30 to $40 for eighth for 2 hours.
Capitalism.
Yep. Smoking like 4 splits back to back. Back then, one drink would be straight.
What people don't want to realize is they went around the country and they didn't care if y'all said y'all was guys, y'all said y'all was nations, y'all said y'all was gangs, y'all said y'all was Zoe, whatever. They wanted in on everything. They studied each version and tried to get into each one and tried to infiltrate each one, right? So you see this in the 90s. What I'm trying to explain, though, that people don't want to bite, that I'm working my way to, is in the 90s, the infiltration was direct through the music. They were literally telling you what to do. And I did that because I wanted to. No, you didn't. They told us what to do. They told us what to do so bad in the 90s that a lot of us don't even remember. We sit back and look at the videos sometimes like, that shit really said that? Yeah. How many of y'all watched the Biggie video when the girl walked in the bathroom and pulled the joint out? You like, damn, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, AI, bro. So that's
subliminals in the subconscious mind and all that.
Thank you. back then we were so straight we couldn't even see this shit. That's how straight we were. We was like, I didn't see that. What you talking about?
Right.
My brain didn't even accept that. Dude. Like, what you see that?
Yeah. We were too young to even figure that out. Right.
It was dudes growing around us too. They were just like, you remember how them G's used to talk about Prince and all that? No, he's not gay. No. Like, bro, it's idol worship. They knew exactly what they was doing, and they spent all that on.
Yo, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. This dude is dropping crazy heavy bombs. Yo, cause you remember that? Like when Prince used to wear the weird ass pants with the
ass cheeks out. Yeah. Androgynous.
Yeah. That was like the ushering and the gay shit.
Yeah. The androgynous feature, because who was doing that before? You had Boy George doing that.
Oh yeah. You're right about that. That was like the 80s, right?
David Bowie in them.
Yeah, that was like the 80s.
Yeah, man. Those
right. And it's slowly kind of like
Cameo wearing that red thing. Like, what was that about, bro?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Word up.
Yeah.
Bless the word. And see, when you look at punk rock and all that, you see they had their agenda going already then.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get back to this. What I'm saying about the 90s is not just because I'm saying, oh, yeah, look what they were saying. If you go back to the science that's been revealed by different artists, they claim that the meeting that was had, that when it was decided on to let rap become like gangster rap and let it go full-fledged, super exaggerated with the violence and the sexual and all the vulgarness, was in 90. They claim it was a meeting in 91 between some top music execs, artists, and prison heads. Right? Meaning that the music after that was actually created to endorse and encourage prison population. Now we can talk for hours about is that true or not. We can get to the point of let's go with that narrative and see how that meant that the gangs, because they're directly in the prisons at that point, right? Because in the 70s when they started doing all the prison industrial complex and building all them extra prisons. So after 20 years later, now the gangs are mainly in the prisons. Now this is the soundtrack. Where that soundtrack come from? Did they create that? No. Go back to when they had the tapes at the bootlegs and the swap meets and all that, the mixtapes.
Yeah.
They studied this. Oh, this is their soundtrack? Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to tell them what to wear. We're going to tell them what to do. We're going to tell them how to feel with the music.
That's a fact. Commercialized. Everything was commercialized. And he was getting like dudes like, was doing free endorsements. Like when Run DMC did the whole My Adidas. That was free advertisement.
Come on.
And they stocks went up.
Yeah. Now Adidas make you real.
Right. But now he's taking everything from knowledge to born.
Yeah.
It's starting with the Crips. Now, when he said the 90s, now we were going down the timeline with Crip and then he broke all that down, went through the 70s, 80s, and now the 90s. Now the 90s, Colors came out. Colors.
Yeah, I remember.
Colors.
That was late 80s, wasn't it?
No, it was 80s, but the 90s for us. Because
okay.
Oh yeah. That was the late 80s. That was the late 80s.
My uncle did a beat on there. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that was the late 80s. That was
for our age group. That was for us, Ron, in the 90s. Because
it for sure is a 90s thing, though. It was like the end of the 80s when it came out, like 88, 89, some shit like that.
Right. Exactly.
I remember when 95, 96, when the whole 96, when the whole blood thing hit the East Coast like heavy.
No, it was 93.
93, but I'm talking like when they made it popular, like with the whole.
Yeah. When people
I remember Channel 11 at 8 p.m. they would have movies that night, and I remember they played Colors for everybody. They say there's a gay epidemic, so we're gonna play a movie for the kids. And Channel 11 played that movie the whole week was Colors. Everybody's come on, start talking about you seen Colors, this and that, and from there on, that game.
Remember, Banging on Wax came out after that.
Yeah,
our favorite album. I ain't gonna lie. Let's not front run.
But even Banging on Wax, that's more cool. What I'm saying, like they were actually teaching people like this is what it is. You get what I'm saying? Like regardless of whether that is or what it's not, they created a program, said this is what it is, and then even for us, it's like, oh, this is what it is to be in New York. Okay, you got to dress like this, do this. It's all AI. You feel me? It's all artificial intelligence used to shape us. And then what's sad about it is, a lot of dudes don't want to admit this because they don't want to admit they're under influence. A lot of times you start trying to be like what the AI is saying it is. Well, this is what Crip is supposed to be. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I saw it in the movie.
Right. Remember that time when everybody was like Crip walking?
You know what the biggest sin to Cripping was? who took it all the way away from any God-bodyism, anything about Revolutionary Interparty Services, anything about having your arms on 40 inches, anything about being the most healthy you could be, anything about smashing on the police and defending yourself. Snoop Dogg. The devil.
You said Snoop Dogg, the devil.
Yo, Crip. King L is on fire tonight, God.
Before we go into Blue-Tang, let's talk about that for a hot second. The devil, Snoop Dogg. Why would you say that?
Because he single-handedly made Crip like something I don't even understand. He made it like him by himself, and his influence through Death Row attracted so much attention. Mind you, that's where Big U evil ass got his start. Death Row. I'm not saying he wasn't from 6-0 before that, but that's how he got into the mix with the artists and all of that. You heard of Whack 100?
Yeah, for sure.
Death Row.
Yeah.
That's how he got in. He had no reason to be around. He was Suge's friend. Yeah, I'm not being metaphorical. I'm not exaggerating none of that. The devils. This is where it starts. This is when it became Crippin' means to be skinny and be a pimp. What the fuck? And talk with this weird tone and be extra, I don't know, like have your head in the sky and hey doggy and smoke all this weed and be high all day and skinny with tattoos and it's like all that whole concept of Crip. I don't know when it was ever like I remember growing up, it was all about being super buff, bald head, like you know what I'm saying, with the goatee, clean cut. I don't remember it being that he came with that shit through the music.
Okay.
Everybody else that pushed it after him was up under him, right? Corrupt, right? Even Nipsey, when he first came out, what did they call him? The new Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how they sold him. It's the new Snoop Dogg, y'all. Oh, yeah, look, he's skinny like him. He's like, he be pimping too, huh? Okay. He's like, yeah, that was, come on, man. Yeah, bro, like, it made a joke. It made it all about rap, and then the rap started being the like the standard and the teacher and the ruler for the streets in general, but especially for the gangs. It was like the Bible for the gangs.
I mean, I think that became like the Bible of all the groups who were popularized around that time.
Yeah.
The reason why I say the gangs is because when you have gangs, you got all these large group of people trying to be on one accord. They can't all know each other. So a lot of times the music kind of like binds them, especially if they got like an artist that's from their hood.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like he represents them of the whole country then, right? Like, so if you're from 6-0 wherever, Nipsey, right? And, you know what I mean? If you're from whatever blood, then this guy or whatever. But it's like, see, here's the sad part about it is all that's good if it's used how what it came from with the Panthers or Jeff Ford and all of that. There's nothing wrong with unity. There's nothing wrong with defending yourself. There's nothing wrong with masculinity. There's nothing wrong with being in uniform. The problem is we created those things and they were so powerful that the devil said, I can't even fight that. I'm going to just join it and infiltrate it. And he did such a good job that everything we're into now is the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even the things we complain about, we steadily maintain. We complain about something as simple as weak lyrics in the music, but we make the music. We can, you know what I'm saying? We hear the women complain about, you know, B-ass niggas, all that, but they raise these dudes. You know, when I dated baby mama, but why you letting your son do this? So it's like I see a lot of things that we perpetuate that we complain about, you know, and I blame a lot of that on music. And a lot of people think I give too much credit to music, but no, I don't think so. I think music is sitting around. It's in the air. It's in the ethers. It's in your brain all day. Your neighbor's playing it. You're playing it. It has a big effect on how you think, how you move. And that's why they put so much money and attention into it. Because that's where the idol worshiping goes. Who do we idol worship more in our black communities? I'll wait.
Celebrities, athletes,
music celebrities. You could be a celebrity, but the music celebrities.
The music. Most definitely.
For sure. Now I want to take it into Blue-Tang. Blue-Tang, how did that come about?
Because of what we talking about. So when I was fresh out of prison, trying to be part of the AI. So, let's rap, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Get me a girlfriend that's light skinned and get some guns and meek. Go to New York and act like I sell drugs and, kick it with the guys and all this bullshit. So once I actually did all of it, I said, this is some bullshit. Right? I got to see Islam as I traveled. People really living it out, big families, some of them multiple earths, seeds, all that. I said, okay, got to live in the snow. You know what I mean? It made me want to be more of a man than the homie and all that. I've seen the value in family and really stand on your square, and it didn't work to where it was like I just got to switch up. I mean, maybe I could have, but it became more like I had a mission. So when I got back to Love Allah, I caught a case in Pennsylvania, and I came back to Love Allah, and my name was kind of hot. So I was, around like Crip Mac and all the little no jumper type people and all that. And there was an interview, and I was involved in it. And I don't know, God, I didn't want to talk about eating booty and, when the first time somebody socked me and said you're from 40s now and all this stupid ass shit. So, my thing is this though, guys. It ain't no disrespect to nobody, but I just feel like a lot of dudes are lame and they don't have a lot of life to talk about. So all they talk about is street shit because it's like that's all they ever really did. Like they ain't really, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm up there talking about the Moorish Science Temple and the guys getting turned out in prison with the guys and pressing my PO and getting off parole without having to go through the process like other people because the Moorish Science. I'm talking about this type of stuff. So from that interview, I started getting calls from like people like in the conscious community and stuff. You know what I mean? So that led me down that road. So I wasn't even really tripping off the music no more, guy. Like I was dropping a song here and there. And my whole thing then was to take all the attention I had from the lower and from the 85, introduce them to the 5. So, I wasn't preachy in the songs. I might throw an outfit on, you know what I mean, dress Islamic and go around the homies and say, y'all know the God and so, you know what I mean? I just would put it, you know what I mean? I'll mix it in there. Like I kind of took it lead from a page out of Wu-Tang. I feel like it was never preachy. They knew how to blend it in there to where if you was a street person and you listen to them enough, you just ended up like realizing what they saying after a while to a degree or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I liked it more like that. It was more organic. So as I was attempting to do that and doing it to my degree, I was on what's called a Crumb TV. In the Crumb TV, Conscious Community Brother. I don't know, people hitting me up. But anyway, Conscious Community Brother. And he had a relationship with Killer Priest. And what makes that is Killer Priest, we know of the Wu-Tang, the Wu-Tang ain't no just, hey, how you doing, backpack type of guys, you know what I mean? These dudes is really outside for real. Like, we ain't gonna go too much into that. But so it was funny to end up with Killer Priest because to me, he's the most like righteous of all of them. He's the most like, into the studies. He got the right name, like Priest, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow. And this is the dude who, when I was in prison, it was feeling some type of way after my mom's passed and all of that, and I was getting on that wave of studying hard. He was one of the dudes we used to listen to, along with Nas. And all that. Like he was deep like that, bro. He'll speak on the Anunnaki and the Lost Hebrews and all that, and he might go for minutes in on it. Like, damn, you can listen to his song, you can go study. You go look at it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, so for Crumb to bring me over there to build with them, that was an honor. And then, like, one day they do the music promotions. I think Crumb submitted one of my songs, and they was like, "What is this?" He was like, "Crip Jesus." So it just grew from there. So after kind of just looking, listening, observing, and respecting, doing the knowledge, I kind of realized that the type of brain I had, the reason I wasn't able to translate it fully into the music I feel was because there's a formula, there's a method that goes with this. It's not just as simple as this is what I want to talk about. You know what I mean? A certain type of sounds, certain type of frequencies, a certain type of beat. So you know what I mean? So
sonically, yeah.
Exactly, guys. Sonically, it wasn't there. It was like I might be saying some stuff, but sonically, it still was ratchet. So I was like, I got to kind of get into it. So as I got into it, he made me part of his clique. He got a royal priesthood. So I was working with them, and this is just kind of like the first thing out there out that camp. You know what I mean? I work real fast, so I kind of was like the first one, kind of like. I mean, they got other joints. Don't get me wrong. Like shout out to Ty Phoenix, she got Crown Lows, Kai Zodiac. But I'm saying as far as us working together, it's like a royal priesthood, Killer Priest presents type of thing. So just in honor of that energy, you know, it just hit me. Like I was doing that song with Planet Asia. I got a song with Planet Asia called God Bodyism, and on there I said I'm like Method from Wu-Tang, West Coast, Crip Jesus. They call me Blue-Tang. And everybody laughed at that part, so I was like, all right, I got to run with that, at least for the project, you know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure. So as far as using the Wu symbol, that was okay from Killer Priest and all of that. You don't have to go through no rigmarole about that.
Tap in. You know what I'm saying? Hey, all I know is it was okay. I mean, I don't think they finna go nobody door and rip a shirt off their back or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, tap in before it do.
Right, so that
For the
come out,
lawsuit come. This shit may be exclusive.
7-11. Yeah, move it up, bring it up again.
Oh yeah, about
July 11th, right?
Let me turn these the background out. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
All right.
July 11th,
How many tracks?
you know, the same year the Moors conquered.
That's a fact.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
That's
Oh
dope.
yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
I like that.
Thank God for 7-11.
Guys ruled the devil, you know what I'm saying?
Indeed. So how many tracks is on that joint?
Say it again.
How many tracks on it?
It's gonna be my first time going double digit, so it's either gonna be 10 or 11. Probably 10 though. I think I'm gonna keep it old school, A side, B side, 5 and 5. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
I'm for sure have CDs and all that. We're going hard with this. This is gonna be physical as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Take it back to the essence, huh?
We can have merch, CDs, all that. Because I feel like I don't know if y'all seen the Wu-Tang channel lately. I don't know what's going on over there, man. They just got some dude over there called Avalanche the Architect or some shit in Canada. I think he hacked the page though.
Nah, I never even.
You see this man? He just dropped like 10 joints. Weird. If they allowed this, then the Blue-Tang has to have dropped immediately. Then because they lost.
Yeah, I remember they were going through a transition when they had that dual silver rings.
They had to get hacked, bro. When you get off this live, go look. You're gonna be crying, laughing. Like this had to be hacked. Like, nah.
I see into the Wu-Tang. Hold on. You said the Wu-Tang channel, right?
Oh, Wu-Tang Clan on YouTube.
Yeah, videos. Oh, I see Avalanche. All right, I gotta check this out.
Ron, we was raised off Killer Army, bro.
Exactly.
We were raised off Killer Army. We know Killer Army.
He hacked the channel. You said he from Killer Army?
And I said we were raised off Killer Army and all that.
Yeah, so you know we can't allow that, man.
Yeah,
that dude gonna get an issue. We might have to go to Canada and holler at him. Hey, Wu-Tang. I'm glad I'm on NYP Talk Show. They might actually hear this. Wu-Tang, tap in. Even though I'm with y'all already with Killer and all that, but you know we way on the West Coast. So y'all might got to tap in. I just was hollering at Shaheem and them though, but the whole Wu-Tang, tap in. We don't know what happened. Somebody stole RZA phone. He over there off that goddamn Angel Dust. Do that Bobby Digital shit. Got to let the plug get his phone. Or with them white girls, whatever y'all got going on, man. Wu-Tang. All right. Holla at the real guys. Wu-Tang.
Yo.
I go over there and whoop some ass up in Canada. They on that final tour with them white girls. Somebody left their phone in the wrong room and let this dude Avalanche the Architect hack the goddamn channel.
Yo. On that note, thank you for coming out this evening. Really appreciate you, God. Man, this was a classic right here, man. We got to throw back this joint a few times.
Yeah, dude, bro, definitely a lot of information, man. Dropped a lot of gems, man.
Tap in with me, y'all. I also got another one called the Black Indian Wars. I got a website. I'm gonna give y'all the link if y'all put it down there for me. I got the website, the blackilluminati.com. Y'all can tap in. We got the books. You know what I'm saying? We got good content. You know what I mean? Merch and more. Everything to keep it high vibrational. You know what I'm saying?
We definitely
type things. We coined the term high vibrational hip hop. So we ain't tripping off what y'all got. It's just this is high vibrational hip hop right here. You feel what I'm saying? Blue-Tang. And to the brother that said,
indeed.
Come on now, Cypher. My name is King El Allah. Okay. This is a rap name just like Method Man or Ghostface Killer or any of that. Don't pick on me because I'm from LA. We just gave y'all history. You feel what I'm saying?
Nah. That might be COINTELPRO, bro.
Yeah,
No, that might be because look, I want to say this though. 25 years later, they can hands off it now. The COINTELPRO has become AI now. I'll prove it to you. A dude will go online and see one person post something that they made up themselves and say, you know, they saying this. They ain't saying nothing. Your cousin posted that this morning. What do you mean they saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, dudes be AI in themselves now. You know
Indeed.
what I'm
Yo,
Nah,
on that
thinking.
note, we are out of here. Peace to everybody.
Peace.
Peace.